Sorry, I forgot to do that. Fuck, I'm always forgetting to do this word. Like I'm getting rained on. Okay, we're back. Don't blink, it's your boy Ink. Welcome back to our show. You guys are doing well, because I'm having a wonderful day. And 7th July 2025. Today we have a beautiful day outside. We had work. We just finished doing a TikTok live. That's also super cool. That is pretty much it. Don't blink, it's your boy Ink. Welcome to our show. Doing well, because I'm having a wonderful day on 7th July 2025. A little bit of an intro for you guys. So we had work this morning. We just finished doing a TikTok live. We came back at around 11:30. We were live for 40 minutes, and now it's raining like crazy. So insane, because when I was doing a TikTok live about, I don't even know, not a long time ago, it wasn't raining. So kind of cool. Don't blink, it's your boy Ink. Welcome to the show. You guys are doing well, because I'm having a wonderful day on this 7th July 2025. We finally don't have problem with the tower sword, so that's good. It is raining really hard, which is crazy, because I just did a oh, I got a pimple. We just did a TikTok live, and it wasn't raining, so the fact that it is raining as hard is kind of cool. There you go. Let's enjoy it. Let's enjoy it. You're gonna hear me make content. It's supposed to have some thunder today, so I'm hoping for thunders. Don't blink, it's your buddy. Welcome to the show. We're doing well, because I'm having a wonderful day on this 7th July 2025. We just had a downpour, which is crazy, because I made a TikTok live at 11. It was 12 o'clock. We made it for 3 minutes, and then we took a little break to upload some videos, and then it's raining hard, and now it stopped raining. So yeah, kind of crazy thing. Today, we're talking about stuff like that. It's kind of hard to talk about. It isn't the most pleasant of things. We're talking about loneliness, and why loneliness is one of the worst things in the world. Now, I want to make it clear, when I made this video, when I talked about this video was last week. Right now, we're surrounded with people. I have amazing friends. My community is there. They were there for me today, yesterday. Super pleasant for me. They love the hair, which is great, because, you know, I want to talk about loneliness, because there is time where I still feel lonely. And I want to talk about how much of it's how hard, not how hard it is, but how crazy, because you would think that loneliness wouldn't be one of the hardest things to do, but why is it one of the hardest things to do? I think, first of all, what is loneliness? I wish I had ChatGPT. I'm gonna start, fuck. If I do that, I'm gonna be both eating the 3 towers. God damn it. Loneliness is kind of crazy, because it can be a room full of people and still feel lonely. So the offset of the loneliness was during the 24th June 2025. You guys remember we had a concert. I recognized some people, but didn't recognize me, which is okay, because I didn't talk to people in years, you know. So yeah, it's kind of nuts. It's kind of nuts, because this is really the first time I felt lonely in a while. See, when it was last year and I was obsessed with making content, I was lonely. Did I feel lonely? No. Which is also a weird thing, because then it's completely psychological. There's a time where you're supposed to feel that way and you don't feel that way. So at the same time, it's kind of weird, because something that affects you, for example, depression. One time you're gonna feel depressed, right? Loneliness is this crazy thing where there's no clear. I can tell, you know, when you're depressed, you're like, okay, well, I can tell why. I can tell why I'm sad. Right? And then when you think about loneliness, like, I don't understand, because I'm not lonelier than I was this morning, and this morning I wasn't feeling it. So there's like almost a set of, like, almost a switch. We saw a small video. Oh, super nice, amazing. A good friend of mine commented, look how dark it is. Yeah, it's gonna be. I'm hoping for thunders, but I'm not sure. It's gonna be crazy. And it was showing me how different. So, for example, anxiety, depression, loneliness, anger, happiness. they did a what you call it? It's kind of like a heat vision where you see the body part, but it's more so how the body is activated, what part of the body are activated. So neurons and the part that makes you feel stuff. Neurons are actually kind of cool because they're making you feel emotion, but they're also making you feel physical pain or physical warmth or shit like that, you know. So it's kind of really cool. They're your sensors. They were showing how we were activated, and it showed how differently we were activated. So that was kind of cool. With loneliness, and it's such a weird thing because I'm supposed to like loneliness because when I was a kid, I chose loneliness. When I was a young adult, I chose loneliness. When I moved in an apartment, I chose loneliness. You know, all the time I'm choosing loneliness. Somebody in the TikTok comment here, they're insisting that we keep a streak on. I don't really know them, so I'm like, dude, you know. Look at it. Am I still recording? I'm not. Oh, for fuck's sakes. You're such a dumb. I hate you. You are. Okay, no, never mind. I'm sorry. I thought it was another recording. I just changed the place and I changed the place for the worst thing. One of the worst positions possible. Loneliness also affects all of us as a society. And of course you can tell that it's such a weird thing because this is one of the things that you know exactly what it is, but you know I don't know how to explain it. Everybody in the world will feel emotion. That's normal, and everybody in the world will feel some of the same emotion at different time. It's kind of life, you know. The craziest thing is, for example, you take the pandemic and how lonely people felt, and how many people really were depressed because of that. And in Canada, but also in most of the country that have winter, there's something called a seasonal depression because you cannot go out. One of the reasons you can't go out is, and even then, I was talking about how you can feel lonely in a room full of people. But it's not that. Sometimes you feel like, for example, like a concert. You go to a concert, right? And you don't know half of these people. You don't know 10% of these people, but you're all there for the same thing, you know. And it's kind of nuts. It's kind of really nuts. And then, at the same time, you feel surrounded by people that have common interests with you, right? Or right now is Comic Con in Montreal, so the Comic Con is for people that like anime. And the cool thing is, with the Comic Con is also a group of people that have the same interest as you. You go to the gym. The gym is people that want to get in shape. You go to your a movie. We're all going to see the same movie. You're going to a card shop and you're taking place in the tournaments. You're always doing that, right? And then the loneliness is also, like for example, right? When you feel sad, what is the remedy for sadness? Happiness. When you feel too sad, too happy. Not really. The remedy for anger, right, is relaxing. Can you be too relaxed? Not really, right? But then the opposite of loneliness is being surrounded and being social and being with your peers. Can you be too social? Yes. Because then you have something called the social barrier, which is your tolerance into being room full of people, you know? So this is actually pretty cool. This is actually really, really cool. Because this is one of the only emotion that doesn't really have a countermeasure, right? Yeah, it kind of sucks. It kind of really sucks, but hey, at the same time, it doesn't really matter because all of this, right? All of this is all matter of fact though. But really matter of fact though. For example, right? You have friends. The thing with loneliness is you'll call friends, and if you don't have a big group of people, you'll always call each other, right? And the thing with loneliness that's kind of cool is if you're lonely, people chances are that other people are lonely. So it's like, hey, you want to go out? Like, okay, let's go. And it's more so a case of, yeah, let's just chill because I feel lonely, right? With me, there's been time lately where I feel lonely. Like for example, when I started the job, it's like, oh, I'm gonna make some new friends. And then I felt like the team that I had, and even then, even if I was like, and the concept is kind of crazy because I have social, and I knew that this job was temporary, right? So I'm like, okay, well, those social interaction, those sort of relationship, if I get one friend, I'm good. The rest are possibly gonna be more temporary, right? So it's not really worth it. For example, also social media. I mean, people. Um, I know. Well, I can be surprised, of course, but I know are gonna be states. Steady for account. I had a person yesterday blocked me because I wasn't going to a live enough for her, and I was like, dude, I kind of crazy, right? Or there's a person, and today I had a live, and then it's such a fucking mentality, a shitty mentality. I'm going to this person live a lot, and then today they just came and they just left, and I was like, my first thought was like, okay, well, it's because I'm talking alone, right? Today I feel lonely. Yes and no. Yes and no. Because I had a lot of people in life and I talked to a lot of people, which is cool. I also supposed to spend a day with my mom. So I prepared myself to be like, yo, I'm gonna have conversation, I'm gonna have social life with my mom, you know. But then you have a life and that's kinda cool, but when the life is closed, you know. And then it's kinda complex because how much social you need, how much social you don't need. There's a day where you don't feel like it. I feel like today because it's super rainy, you feel kind of stuck at home, you know. And again, it's like about seasonal depression because I'm stuck at home. I don't go out because I see people, you know. Then what's the remedy? So you go talk to people, right? But when you talk to people, you're talking, and I don't think it's nice. I don't think it's bad, but I don't think it's nice. You talk to people, right? And you talk to your friends. They're working, they're busy. It's like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to talk to other people. People I don't really talk to. And kind of the morally wrong thing to do is you talk to those people because you're lonely. You just want to talk to these people, right? And that's kind of stuff. That's that kind of stuff. Because I feel like real strength come from within. Somebody that's going to be able to be on their own and to be secure on their own, but also be entertained. Like for example, for food, right? I have enough food to last 4 or 5 months. Why not constantly go shopping? Well, I constantly go shopping because um, I constantly go shopping because I'm in a position where I'm like, I kind of need to go out. I kind of need to go buy some food. And even then, this is kind of like one of the craziest behavior. You're so used to buying some food and it's hard to tell your brain, you don't need food. You have enough food, you know? Because it's in the behavior, it's in your pattern. Do the shopping and go do the shopping and buy some food and rush. Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. It's kind of nuts, to be honest. Then it's normal behavior. Like when you go to school, right? The president of the school. What does most parents say? You're gonna make some friends. They don't think you're gonna be learning some stuff. You're gonna be making some friends, right? And even as a kid, you have your kid and kindergarten, right? And this is also some kind of like almost twisted, almost ironic. You're gonna have your kids in the kindergarten. Why? Because you want your kid to be able to function in society, to make some friends. But then you're taking kids and you're basically teaching them that, okay, well, you constantly need to be surrounded with people, right? We don't really teach kids to be self-sufficient. We don't really teach kids to be okay on their own, right? But then it's kind of counter nature. My apologies. Kind of counter nature because we're social beings, right? We are very extremely social. Even if you look at the very beginning, we created society, created the nation, created a group of people, you know, and this is the beginning. And of course, there's a chance of survival, which is higher. Right now, we're watching Squid Game, which is a lot of Christian society, right? And then in the show, you really feel like some people are feeling lonely because they don't know who to trust. And because they don't know who to trust, they feel lonely. So this is why we needed a description for lonely. The description for lonely is super important because if you can be lonely in a room full of people, then being lonely is not being alone, right? Is it the trusted? Is it I feel a certain emotion I don't know who to talk about? And stuff. I am. It was my friend anniversary weekend yesterday, so I didn't know, and I avoided social media because we had there's circle drama. It's not a big deal. And then today it's like, what was drama? And I'm like, don't worry about it, it's okay. And then he thinks that I don't want to talk about it because I don't want to bother him. Right? It's like, dude, I'm here for you. And I'm like, I'm okay. But is it? It's also the thing. Like for example, you'll certain people when they need to be okay, they'll push away people, right? So when these people tell you I'm okay, I'm like, okay, well I know you're not that, but you're lying. And sometimes you're lying, but sometimes it's true. For example, yesterday, yes it was a drama, but so dumb. A person that I used to talk to every single day and we were friends, we stopped being friends because she started talking to me, then she started doing live and she was telling me to come here, to come to the live, to come to the live, and I was like, dude, it's too much. You're sending me 4 or 5 invitations a day. You're sharing your shit. It's too much. And then she blocked me. Which means I would never be, we were never friends with. Now, losing a friend, kind of shitty. Losing a friend that wasn't really a friend, it's a good thing. It's a good thing. You're gonna keep people around that are not true friends. No. Right? So then, if he thinks that I'm being dishonest, because usually I'm being dishonest when it comes to usually I'm being dishonest when it comes to that, you know. And is it bad? Yes. You shouldn't be dishonest, no. But at the same time, it's part of, I don't know, it's part of us as a micro society, right? I just realized that I'm not uploading. Now, what I mean by micro society, and this is also important because you talk about loneliness. I think that if I'm going to do a video on loneliness, I have to talk about being well surrounded and being socially like in a good place. I think one of the bad thing is you have your own inner circle. Like for example, you with your own friend. So even though society as a whole is your social ground, it doesn't mean that it's your social ground. Your micro organism or your micro society, which is your job, your family, your friends, they're your society, right? And then you're just part of a broader thing. For example, I talk about how when people ask me, I say I'm French Canadian. I'm Canadian, right? But then, ultimately speaking, what am I? Am I from Canada? Well, I'm more from Quebec. Am I from Quebec? Well, I'm more from Montreal. Am I from Montreal? No, I'm from Lachine. You know? So degrees. And then my true community, which would be in real life, would be my city, which is Lachine, right? But then, that's not the case. That is not the case. Because then you realize that Lachine is pretty small. And then you would go to Montreal, which is the island of Montreal. I live on the island of Montreal. You would realize that, yo, this is kind of a city, dude. This is kind of my island, right? But it's huge. It's huge. And then at the same time, socially speaking, your circle is as big as you make it, right? For example, since we don't go out a lot, then it could be a case of I don't really feel like this is my city because already when I'm going out, it's already a lot, you know? For example, somebody that doesn't go out, they go out a little bit and like, holy shit, dude, you went out, right? Which is kind of nuts in itself. Kind of nuts, to be honest. But it's so cool. It's so cool because, and now we're uploading because I need to. It's so cool because you are in charge of your own kind of balance, right? There's time in life where you're like, I have enough friends. And there's time in life where I need more friends. With content creator, you kind of see that. You kind of see the mods. Like, for example, mods are a big thing. So mods, and again, I'm going to talk about social media in this loneliness video, but it's a parasocial. So mods are closer to you than just a viewer because you trust them, right? But then a mod in itself is close to you, so more friendly towards you. You feel surrounded. For example, the big content creator, huge content creator, what they're gonna do is they're gonna have a talk with all their mods. They're gonna have some meeting with all their mods. They're gonna go out, you know, which is actually cool to do, right? But then this whole thing with social media is parasocial. So with parasocial, you're getting this social. I'm using this term a lot lately. I know it's not to use, but meth. It's a horrible thing to say, but I like it. So meth is a drug, right? You're addicted to meth really quickly. The thing to make you unaddicted to meth is called methadone. So methadone is the addictive factor of meth without it being like well, I'm not saying you should take that, but it's like a negative patch, to be honest, right? And because it's like a negative patch, then you're like, okay, well, guess what? I can go a day. I can go 2 days without it. And then, slowly speaking, just like cigarettes, what you do is, from what I understood, I haven't been addicted to it, thank God. From what I understood is, at first you go with, I need 2 patch a day. And like, okay, well, you know what? I don't need this to smoke. And smoking is kind of like a really good example of social. So, for example, smoking, right? One of the hardest things to stop smoking is the movement, the muscle memory. So in your brain, you're constantly doing this, or you're constantly doing this, right? Depends on what you're smoking. And then you stop. So the first thing that you need is nicotine. But then you find yourself, think about nicotine. You see another smoker, they're gonna suck on something. They're gonna suck on a pen, right? And that's the behavior, that's the muscle memory, something that makes you feel at home. Like, for example, the kids, the babies, they spend sucking on their tongue a lot, right? So the reason why they're sucking on their tongue is because their teeth are growing. So sucking on the tongue, actually appealing to the teeth, it hurts less. So then it becomes part of a comfort system, right? So they're gonna be sucking on the tongue and have a pacifier. They're gonna chew on the pacifier, chew on the tongue, right? It's not hurtful. It's not a bad behavior. It's like, okay, well, you gotta grow out of this social comfort, right? Because you have to grow out of this social comfort. Like, okay, well, stop sucking on your tongue. And it's hard because it's a muscle memories, right? So for that, for social behavior, it's the same thing. For example, right? I do my streams, my life, and my life is a perfect example because I do 20 minutes to 45 minutes, 15 minutes maximum, because this is my social values. So if I did less, like, you know what, let's go live again. If I did more, it would be weird because I'm like, okay, well, my social values kind of done. Of course, you have good days. So something that affects your behavior. So because you affect your behavior, you're affecting every single emotion. You're happy, right, because you have good behavior, or you feel more social because I'm fucking happy. Let's share this with the world. Doesn't matter how they care. Doesn't matter how they see it. I'm happy. You know, that's cool. It was really cool, actually. Really fucking cool. So yeah, but it's such a crazy thing because, like I was saying, at a very young age, you establish social behavior. Don't bite people, don't push people, don't punch people. That's not nice. You know. And the friends, your hope is that your friends will make a lot of friends. And then it's kind of crazy because you hope your kids will make a lot of friends, but most of these kids are fucking useless. And they're not gonna be good friends, right? Because they didn't learn to be a good friend yet. I like to say that I was a shitty friend with good intention, and I have to say that right now I'm an okay friend, right? I'm an okay friend. I don't know if I'm the best. I don't think I'm the best. I very much so don't think I'm the best, but at the same time I try, you know? That's behavior, and socially speaking. Some people are gonna be smart. Some people are gonna be like street smart, book smart. Socially is a kind of smart itself. You know how to talk to people, you know how to get people. Like salesmen have a lot of charisma. That's a skill. That's a skill that you can train. It's a skill that I don't think you're born with. But at the same time, you're kind of born with it. And then the loneliness affects people in different ways. Think of an extrovert, right? That likes to talk to people. That likes to go out and just have fun. And then take an introvert, which is more so somebody that's going to stay inside and stick to themselves. Then the introvert, you would think that socially speaking, they're less adept as that, but at the same time, no. Because what if the introvert, okay, that's going to sound so bad, but I don't mean it in a bad way. What if the introvert had a fake profile, not a fake profile picture, but had a, like it's not him, it's not a picture, and he has a completely different name. It's not really him talking. Then the introvert possibly doesn't have a lot of confidence in himself or herself. And what they do is, with that identity, social identity, and they're gonna be very social, so they have their social fix. And then the greatest thing with that is they stay introverted because that's their new nature, but they're becoming more and more socially intelligent, right? One of the shows that I like the most is Big Bang Theory. Look at season 1, Sheldon, which is completely inept, socially speaking. And then that season, and final season is actually pretty good, right? And then the extrovert who, just like me, has to learn to take its place. Has to learn that, bro, you're talking a lot, or bro, you're taking a lot of space, or bro, you should listen to people, bro, stop cutting people off, you know? That's socially speaking. And then the greatest thing that ever happened is that you get social norms. Like, everybody's gonna be different, and everybody's gonna have their patience and their tolerance of socially speaking, right? But then you enter a subject of what is morally wrong. Like, don't hurt animals. If you hurt animals, somebody's gonna say, oh, it's an asshole. So socially we have rules, and it's a good thing. I crazily enough, will go on my scooter, right? And it's not a really social thing. However, I'm here with drivers, and then you have to be social. You have to be okay. Well, this is different pass. Please pass and be kind to people, and that is a social interaction. And then you got the worst thing. The worst thing with that is that you realize that loneliness, the truth of loneliness, is just social interaction. And then this is the insane part. Can you quantify happiness? No. Can you quantify? That's can you quantify love? No. We can quantify your social value. So for example, every single day you watch my time. While I stream, talk to my parents, or I talk to my friends, and then like, okay, well, today you did 4 hours. Yesterday you did 3 hours. The day before you did 4 hours. So you know that's your socially acceptance of 3 to 4 hours per day, right? And then, of course, I'm not saying that you should dictate your own social. Your body will tell you though. Your body will tell you. Your body will tell you when you're sleepy. Your body will tell you when you're hungry. But it won't tell you when you're lonely, right? And it's not necessarily a coping mechanism, but a defense mechanism. Right? Your body will say, hey, you need to go out, you need to talk to people. You know? My mom feels lonely. She doesn't have a boyfriend. She doesn't have a dog. She has me, and most of her friends are retired, and she doesn't want to be retired. But also, the fact that my mom feels lonely, it makes her so nice, because she's grateful for the people that she has. She's grateful for the time that she goes out. She's grateful for a lot of things, and it's a nice sentiment. Her being lonely isn't a nice sentiment, but the fact that being lonely taught her the importance of having people around you and having people in your life is great. It's amazing. It is unbelievable, because we take relationship for granted, we take friendship for granted, right? We take family for granted. But then, at the same time, we take those for granted. At the same time, you gotta meet those people. If, and only if, okay? If. Oh, this is what she would say. If you keep your friends around, and you have a number of friends, right? And you keep all those friends around, because you know deep down you have a need for social interaction, and you don't want to be lonely. Is that a bad thing? And I don't know if it's a bad thing. Actually, I know you should be friends with someone because, well, at the same time, you should be friends with someone because you like them, of course. But you also can be friends with people because, oh man, if I don't have that friend, I'm going to be lonely, and I don't know what to say. Who to talk to, you know? And I suffer. And then I'm seeing this in my mom, but I'm also seeing it in my father. My father, who had the same girlfriend for 26 years. And my dad, and I love him. My dad was possibly a perfect example of loneliness, of controlled loneliness, right? My dad, we used to have this garden, and he takes care of the garden 3 hours a day. That's his me time. That is his therapy time. That is, I need to be alone time, you know? But then he has a single girlfriend, so it's serious, so that is, it's not he used to be alone. Then whenever he's alone, he say, hey, come over. Let's have breakfast together, let's have supper together, because I'm alone. And I'm like, okay, well, as a son, as my father, I love him. And I understand feeling alone, you know? And at the same time, I'm like, wow, you call me because you're alone. You wouldn't call me otherwise. But is that such a bad, that's a bad thing? Is he wrong for doing that? No, you're just lonely. Lonely is a problem. If I'm hungry, what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna eat food, right? If I'm gonna go find something to relax, watch a movie, take a shower, just calm down, you know? Loneliness is a need. It's a problem. There's a solution. And there's a fix. Right? But it's also something we share. What is the reason behind war? Conquering. Greed. What is the reason behind peace? Society. Morals. Values. Your morals and values are only worth it when you're surrounded with people. It doesn't matter if you're the kindest person alive when you're alone. It matters that you're the kindest person alive when you're with people. You know? Your values. Your value of respect. You're not being respectful to yourself. You're the hard worker. You're not hard working for yourself. I'm a hard worker for myself because I make content. Right? Good at that. You know? And I thought about this yesterday. It's tough being lonely. Some people I know will do a lie because they're lonely. And then they don't have anybody because okay. I don't like to talk about this, but because I did it myself. People are gonna come live and they don't have content. They're just lonely, so they don't come in to make content. They come in because they have this need for social. And when they see you, they'll get excited and say, "Hey, how are you?" I'm like, I just came in. Then if the reason behind that is loneliness, can you blame them? You know? And this guy who steals. And when you ask him why he steals, like, I kind of feel like I need to steal to feed my family. Okay. Oof, okay. And it sucks. You never want to be that guy. You know that those guys exist. You know? And it's tough. But hey. I became French till I Anyway, love you guys. Take it easy. Don't blink. Don't blink. It's your boy. Welcome to the show. Hope you're doing well. Having a wonderful day on this noisy, rainy, 7 July 25. You're doing well. Having a wonderful day. Sorry about that. Today we're talking about zombies. Yeah. Zombies. So lately I've been getting into literature a little bit, and we've been reading some H.P. Lovecraft. We've been reading some old things. For example, the Dracula. And then we did a deep dive. And then, of course, we had a phase where we were listening to. Oh my god. There's a really good series. There's a really good series, but it's a weird series because they're werewolf. It's kind of like a romance thing, like Japan. And then I talk about zombies. Why? Because zombies are, I don't know. I felt the need to do this because I felt like zombies are superior creature. They're just a great thing, and they're super cool. But they weren't popularized that much. So, for example, Dracula exists for almost 100 years, to be honest. And zombie, they were popularized by George Romero, who kind of is the father of zombies. But then they were popularized by shows like Walking Dead. Walking Dead is the show that made me kind of realize how cool they were, you know? But then you play games like Resident Evil. Resident Evil also has this huge history. And they're infected, but they're also zombies. The movie that 28 days later, it's zombies, you know? And zombies are such a common trope. It makes you ask yourself, why? Why are zombies so popular? Well, first of all, zombies are humans. They're not transformed, not supernatural beings. They're infected. So, for example, we had a cure. A good movie is I Am Legend. They said they found the cure for cancer, right? And then, it's crazy because I'm thinking also about Last of Us. Are they zombie or are they infected? The Last of Us must be one of the only social media that correctly use the term infected. They're infected by cordyceps, which is a mushroom. It is in real life. You know, with I Am Legend, they found a cure for a sickness, which was cancer. And like, guess what? You can fix cancer, and then they get infected. So, oops. But the kind of the best part about that, oh, that's good. That's really good. getting bitten by mosquito again, or bitten by zombies. It's the factor of there's just no stopping them. So, for example, zombies aren't these great beings, aren't these amazing. Like, for example, you take a vampire, they're super strong, right? And vampire has this weakness, but zombies don't have weakness. They're just weak, they're just slow, right? And it's such a common trope. And at the same time, with zombies, for example, Walking Dead, there's really cool effects with and I'm gonna get some hate. I love Vampire Diaries. When you look at Vampire Diaries, the affect, that's pretty much it. They'll do something with the eyes. But a zombie, you can really go forward. Like the zombie with the camera face, right? You can really go ahead and do some cool shit. But it's just the playability of a zombie. It doesn't matter how they get. A zombie is what? It's something that comes up from the dead, right? It's an undead. We used to call them undead, by the way. Before people start using the term zombie, it was undead. And it's just so fucking cool because it's just such an interesting concept. So, for undead, we're always afraid of the dead and possessed and evil spirit, right? With zombies, it's more so like they affected. In Resident Evil, they could bite you and you could kind of like, okay, well, I got transformed because I got bitten, right? Kind of nice. It's kind of really nice. Kind of fucking really nice, you know? And then zombies. Genesis was kind of against Resident Evil 8 and 9, 8, 7. And I kind of understand why, because they're not really infected, they're more so like mold. Like, ugh, it's not the same thing, right? And therefore, and it's very pure. Because with zombie, the cool thing is, in movies like 28 Days Later, and movies like, Last of Us, you can kind of see them very, very human, right? And then, the coolest thing that they did in Walking Dead is, at the time, you could say, well, this guy has been a zombie for a while because he's decomposed. This zombie he just turned because he's kind of looking normal. It's a great thing. And then with zombies, there's breeds of zombies. Like one of the things that does it really well is Days Gone. Days Gone does it really well. It does an evolution, right? Days Gone is actually a really good game. Yeah. So the zombies are as a trope are amazing. Just so much thing you can change. Like you wanna have, for example, it would be so simple. You take, for example, I'm playing Gundam. I'm gonna go far with that. Gundam. Technically speaking, you take a giant robot, that's Gundam. But I'm also, for example, Pokemon. It's a trope of Pokemon. Like zombies are all that. For a Pokemon, you cannot look too. For a Gundam, you cannot look too small. It's gonna be weird, you know. But a zombie can pretty much whatever you want. And then Romero kind of did the rule of zombies. So because he was kind of behind it, he popularized like, okay, well, zombies are the way to go. This is the way. So when you use zombie, you kind of have to, you don't have to do shit to them. You kind of have to respect the lore on them. They're not a new thing. Now, for example, you take a guy like H.P. Lovecraft, who introduced a lot of things. For example, Cthulhu, which is a god. Now, H.P. Lovecraft is behind Cthulhu, right? And I don't think a lot of people, except for him, use Cthulhu. Now, this is not true. A lot of people use Cthulhu, but at the same time, nobody made a movie about Cthulhu. Except for H.P. Lovecraft, they make a book. It's kind of nice. And then with zombies also, is I think with The Walking Dead, what they did that was really cool was they literally, were like, hey, listen, ouch. The cool thing with Walking Dead was they literally like, okay, well, you know this person, can you kill them? You know? One of the main character, which is Morgan, his wife, she opened the door, she killed his son. And then when it was time to kill his son, he couldn't do it. He couldn't do it. Like, what would you do with your neighbors? It's insane. It's insane. What would you do? And the thing with the zombie is it's multiplying, and they're next unkillable. So for example, when I talk about the rules, you know that George Romero said that you have to kill the brain, right? It's Walking Dead, that's the way to go. Walking Dead is possibly one of the most complete piece of the zombies. But then at the same time, in Walking Dead, the enemy aren't the zombies anymore. They're the sanctuary, they're the terminus, they're the wolf, they're the The Claimer. Another one I didn't watch. That's pretty much it, right? And the zombies are not. But then with Walking Dead, at the end, what we do is we did a real fear of zombies. And the real fear of zombies is what? The real fear of zombies is if they evolve. Some of them can open door. Some of them can grab a rock and destroy windows. Some of them can climb surfaces. You know? They're kind of cool. Yes, the zombies are the superior creature. And then yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm gonna say something about the humanity behind it, but it could be said for vampires and werewolves. Let me know your favorite creature in the comments. Don't blink, it's your boy Ying. Welcome to the show. Let me welcome to having a wonderful day. Because we're doing well on the 7th July 2025. Today, I'm coming in with bad news. It is the Battlefield Chronicle. Battlefield Chronicle it's not a big bad news. With the Battlefield Chronicle, what happened is I forgot, or I thought I did, but I didn't. I thought I uploaded part 2 Battlefield Chronicle, but I didn't. We have to restart. Now, it's not a big deal because we have 2 hours, about 3 hours of the game we played. So it's not a big deal, but at the same time, it kind of sucks. So yeah, I'm gonna have to restart from 0. So you're gonna see version number 2. It's cool because we're not that far in the game. It's not cool because I don't like the game that much. But yeah, we fucked up. So if you're seeing some double content, my apologies. Anyway, love you guys. Take it easy. Peace. Okay, next. What's the next one? Don't blink, it's your boy Yank. Welcome to the show. Guys are doing well. Having a wonderful day on this. Oh, that's right. So July 2025. Today we're talking about Ocarina of Time. And I know you're gonna find me annoying with that Ocarina of Time, but it's just such a wonderful game. And we're talking about real life also. So you know my favorite game is Majora's Mask. Majora's Mask world never felt real. For some reason, Ocarina of Time world felt really real. The plains, the horse riding, the lake, the mountain, it felt very real. The cards. It felt really weird. Very real. I don't know what's about Majora's Mask that doesn't really convict that it's real. But then I was seeing, like, for example, the cloud and the rain, and it just bring me back to Ocarina of Time. And then I thought about this before. I made a video about this before about how I'm looking at clouds and I'm like, oh my god, it makes me remember Hyrule. I'm looking at plane, it makes me remember Hyrule. And then I'm asking myself the question: why do I care so much? What is it about Ocarina of Time that really completely changed my perception of video games? And then it kind of is something that is impressive because I don't know if it's nostalgia or if the game was just well made or above its time. On the Nintendo 64, that was what I grew up with. I played 8 games a lot, 8 games. Mario Kart, Mario 64, the Zelda Ocarina of Time, Perfect Dark, Majora's Mask, Banjo-Kazooie, Spider-Man, and Donkey Kong 64. Yeah, that was the game that I played the most. The Ocarina of Time, I have to say, is a game that I grew up the better, the best. I can't talk today, I'm sorry. See, with the nostalgia of Ocarina of Time, is you can tell that, oh dude, I remember that, you know. But then you look at it today, and of course the graphics aren't great. They kind of grew up nicely, kind of aged nicely. The game is still very enjoyable. The game is still a masterpiece. That's one of the best games ever made, right? And if it's nostalgia, then me seeing this, like for example, right? You're gonna see a movie or a friend. You can remember that time that you passed together, right? Like, oh yeah, that was kind of cool. But with a game, it's different because with a game, you're like, ah, I shouldn't be seeing this in real life, and especially how bad the graphics were, right? And you're seeing real life, and like, it just reminds you. It just reminds you when I'm seeing like huge pour rain, huge downpour of rain. I'm thinking about Mechanical Village. Mechanical Village and The Ring. You know? It's fantastic. It's just insane because I don't know if I'll ever find a game that does that. And if it is nostalgia, is it a need? Is it purposeful? Do I feel the need to do that and this and this and that and this? Or just because I'm grateful for the game, I'm grateful for the memories, I'm grateful that the game exists. You know? It's nuts. And it's really weird because if you weren't there back then, I don't think you would understand. But somehow, if you were there, you know exactly what I mean. You know, it's kind of crazy. It's really kind of crazy. I just don't know. I just don't know. Stuff. You want to have the answer, correct? This game meant a lot to me. What does it mean so much? And how does it translate? A game meaning to you something that meant something to you years ago. How does it translate to it right now? Right? How does it translate to it here? See, I'm in a position where I'm in a blessed position. I've played enough games in my life where I know exactly what I want to play. I know enough. I played enough games to have games that I can play 2-3 times. And then there's a whole year that passes because there's so many of them. And then you can restart and you don't remember because you play so many games. And the same thing for music. I'm okay with the music that I have right now. I don't need new music. Does that mean that I shouldn't get new music? It doesn't mean shit. Does it mean that I shouldn't play a new game? It doesn't mean shit. You know? It's kind of nice knowing. Kind of nice knowing. I just don't know. I just don't know. It's a good memory, but at the same time, and it's such a weird feeling. Seeing something, for example, the cloud, and it reminds you of Ocarina of Time. It's a great thing. You have such a good time because of that. But then at the same time, you're like, oh fuck. I wish I could move on. Where does the need of moving on come from? Is it a pressure by society? Is it because the whole world out there? Is it because I'm being told to move on? I'm being told that, well, you're such an age, you should have a wife and kids, you know? And the reality is I don't know. Well, possibly you never know. But there's a charm behind it. And it's a cycle because if you think that you don't need to try new stuff, then whenever you see something that reminds you of the game, will remind you of the game. Because you didn't try new stuff to replace it. Then the simple amount that you want to replace something isn't good. One thing that should be replaced. And then there's completely different things. For example, Kingdom Hearts, which I would have to wait 13 years for the third game. At the time I didn't care. Little Nightmare, which is one of my favorite games. To just release the third one, and I don't care. I don't care about it. You know? And then because I'm getting older, and those memories to me are precious. You see older people talk about, oh, when I was young. Am I at that age? Am I at that point where I'm saying, when I was young, we had this game called Ocarina of Time. The graphics were great at the time. I don't know. It's a great thing, it's a bad thing. Because the memory is a safe place. Nostalgia is a safe place. But the fact that you need nostalgia is not good. Because you needing nostalgia means that the current place that you are doesn't feel safe enough. You're coping with nostalgia. You're coping with a place of comfort. That is not good. Anyway, look guys, take it easy. Peace. Run out. No. Don't think it's funny. Welcome to the Commentary Show. You guys are doing well today, having a wonderful day on this 7 July 2005. Today we are tasting a new product. We're tasting Bubbaloo, which is a gum product. I want you guys to look at the perfect design. And we're tasting bananas. It's a Spanish product. The sabor platano, which is possibly plantain. Goma de mascarpone. Whoa. I never had these. Kind of interesting because you don't have this in Canada. You don't have these, so this is a newer product. The smell is really banana-ish, which is nice. Mm. Mm. Oh, that's great. Mm. That is great. Mm. That is otherworldly. Mm. Now because you taste the banana, it's very subtle. The jelly itself, the banana but you more so taste the jelly. It's really nice. I didn't think I was gonna like it. I better to taste it, not for anything else. It's a really nice thing. So Bubbaloo and the flavor is a success. Mm. Enjoy the chew. Mm. Wait a second. Okay.
Hi. Hey. How are you? I'm doing great. How you doing? I'm good too. What's your name? My name is Ryan. My name is Amanda. Nice to meet you, Ryan. Amanda, you're from China. Yeah. Very cool. I'm from the USA. You probably don't know my city, but I live like near New York City. Yeah, I went to New York City. Like I spent 2 years in Boston. I just arrived China this year. Oh, look at you. You're an international traveler then. Yeah. Which city you live in? Have you ever heard of Albany? Sorry, no. Albany is... My bad. Sorry. Yeah, so on my like gap year this year. Oh, your gap year. Are you exploring the world? Yeah, I travel a lot. Just like 1 month ago, I went to Bali. And now I just work. Because one of my best friends, she's from Indonesia. And she got a really big visa.
I fucked up. I don't have Mm. Okay. Mm. 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 Good. Apologies. Hmm? Mm. Mm. Oh. Good. Go.